The galaxy had one rule, one silent, unbroken law that every species whispered to their children and carved into their star maps. Never interfere with humans. It was not written in any treaty. No council had passed it. No empire had enforced it, and yet everyone obeyed, because the stories of Earth were older than most civilizations. Stories of wars fought in silence, of fleets burned to ash in seconds, of humans who never forgot a debt nor forgave a crime. And yet rules are always broken, sometimes by greed, sometimes by desperation, and sometimes by simple kindness. That was how it began, with a mining ship drifting on the edge of nowhere. A freighter held together by rust, weak shields, and a crew who only wanted enough credits to eat for another season. They never planned to be heroes. They never wanted to be symbols. But when their scanners caught a faint distress beacon, they made the mistake, or perhaps the miracle, that would change the galaxy. It was not just a signal. It was a human. And in that moment, as their ship turned toward the drifting pod, the fate of countless worlds shifted. Because Earth was listening, and Earth never ignores a rescue call. The Silver Crest was not a warship. It wasn't even much of a mining vessel anymore. Its hull was patched with mismatched metal, its engines wheezed with every jump, and its captain often joked that one day the ship would fall apart before the crew even realized it. Inside, the crew was small, only 6 souls from 6 different species. They had no empire, no allegiance, only each other. Captain Vera, a tall, scaled alien with tired yellow eyes, sat slumped in the command chair. She had flown through hundreds of empty sectors, chasing weak ore veins and contracts no one else wanted. The crew was restless, hungry, and tired. Then the scanners pinged. "Captain, we've got something," said Core, the insectoid navigator, his mandibles twitching. "A rock?" Vera asked, too bored to hope. "Not a rock," Core hissed, his antennae curled in unease. "A pod. Life signs inside. Faint." The bridge went silent. A pod meant survivors. Survivors meant trouble. Pods, drifting in space rarely, came from peaceful ships. Usually it meant pirates, or worse, wars. Vera rubbed her jaw, thinking, "Coordinates." The crew hesitated. "Captain," said Jorin the engineer, his fur bristling, "what if it's a trap? Pirates sometimes leave pods to bait us." "Then we scan it carefully," Vera replied. "I won't ignore a distress signal. Not out here. Not when we know what it feels like to be abandoned," the others muttered, but none argued. They all remembered being desperate once. The Silver Crest adjusted its course, engines groaning, and drifted toward the faint signal. When the pod finally appeared, on their screens, it was a miracle it still existed at all. The outer shell was torn, blackened by burns. Half the thrusters were gone. The beacon pulsed weakly like a dying heartbeat. "Life signs. Still there," Core said. His voice trembled. "Very faint, very weak." Vera narrowed her eyes. Something about the shape of the pod tugged at her memory. She had seen this design before, in old databanks. "Bring it aboard," she ordered. The crew gasped. "Captain, no, we don't even know what's inside." "What if it's infected? What if it's dangerous?" Vera stood, her long tail sweeping the floor. "And what if it's just someone who needs help? We don't leave them to die." Reluctantly, the others obeyed. The Silver Crest extended its weak grapplers, pulling the pod into the hangar bay. The ship shuddered as the pod touched down. The beacon cut out. Silence filled the air. They gathered around it, staring at the sealed hatch. Jorin sniffed the air. "Smells wrong." Core tapped his claws against the metal. "Old design. Very old. I don't like this." Vera ignored them and pressed the manual release. The pod hissed open, and inside was a human. He was unconscious, strapped to a cracked seat. His armor was battered, scorched, but still intact. Blood seeped from cuts across his face. His chest rose and fell weakly, each breath a struggle. The crew froze. 1,000 whispered stories came alive in that instant. Humans, the cursed predators. Humans, the warriors who vanished after the old wars. Humans, the species that no one dared to touch. No, Kor whispered, stepping back. Not human, not here. Jorin's fur bristled as he bared his teeth. Seal the pod, throw it back into space. Vera's eyes narrowed. He's alive. Exactly, Kor snapped. Alive human means trouble. Everyone knows the rule. Never interfere with humans. Do you want Earth on us? The word sent a chill through the bay. Earth. The homeworld no one had seen in centuries, yet every species feared. The empire that never called itself an empire, yet whose shadow lay heavy over every star. Vera stared at the dying man. His chest rattled with each weak breath. His lips twitched, whispering something none of them could hear. Her claws clenched. I won't throw a dying man into the void, not while I'm captain. She lifted him out of the pod. He was heavier than expected, muscles packed even in weakness. She carried him onto a stretcher as the crew muttered and cursed under their breath. And far away, in places none of them could see, a hidden signal lit up. Inside the pod, buried deep. Within its failing systems, something had awakened. It pulsed once, then again. A message so faint, so encrypted, that no one in the Silver Crest could detect it. But Earth could. On a distant relay station, abandoned by all but forgotten machines, a light flickered to life. A code ran across old screens. A voice, digital and cold, whispered into the void. Rescue protocol activated. Human life saved. Signal Earth. And across the stars, dormant satellites awoke. Silent networks hummed. Deep under the crust of the Sol system, buried war AIs stirred. Earth had heard the call. Hours later, the human lay in the medbay, patched with what little equipment they had. His breathing steadied, but his body twitched with restless dreams. The crew gathered outside the glass, their voices sharp with fear. This was madness, Jorin growled. You know what humans bring, war. Always war. We should have left. Him, Kor agreed. Now Earth will come. Vera's eyes were tired but steady. Let them come. We saved a life. That is all. You don't understand, hissed Kor. Humans don't repay debts with kindness. They repay them with fire. You saved him. Now Earth will claim us. We are marked. Inside, the human shifted. His eyes flickered open, dark and sharp. For a moment he seemed confused, then alert. His voice cracked as he spoke, but every word struck like iron. Where am I? The crew froze. None dared answer. He turned his head slowly, his gaze landing on each of them. Who saved me? Vera stepped forward. I did. My crew did. The humans studied her for a long, terrible moment. Then he whispered words that made every heart freeze. Then Earth is coming. For you. The crew stared at him, horror spreading across their faces. What do you mean? Coming, Vera asked carefully. The human tried to sit, pain shooting through his body. His hand gripped the edge of the bed like a vice. His eyes burned with something ancient. You don't understand, he rasped. Earth never ignores. A rescue call. You saved me. That means Earth will go to war. For you. The ship seemed to tremble as if the stars themselves held their breath. Far away, unseen by any of them, fleets stirred in the dark. Beacons aligned, engines roared to life. The galaxy was changing, and it began with a single act of kindness. They thought they had saved a dying man. They thought they had rescued just another drifter, another survivor clinging to life. But as the human opened his eyes, the crew of the Silver Crest realized the truth. They hadn't saved a man. They had saved a weapon. The galaxy whispered of humans in old stories, predators, killers, soldiers who waged wars that erased empires. But most dismissed those tales as myths, old campfire warnings for younglings. Now, Standing in the flickering light of the medbay, the alien crew saw those myths breathing, bleeding, staring back at them, and the humans' first words were not thanks, not relief, not kindness. They were words that chilled every heart in the room. Where am I? Who called Earth? The medbay was silent, except for the hum of failing machines. The human's chest rose and fell with each sharp breath, his body wrapped in bandages, his muscles tense even in weakness. Captain Vera stood closest, her scaled arms crossed, forcing her voice to stay calm. "You're aboard the Silver Crest, a freighter. We found your pod drifting. You were dying. We saved you." The human's eyes narrowed. Dark eyes, sharp as blades. They flicked to the crew outside the glass. Kor, Jorin, the others, each unfrozen, every instinct screaming to flee. The human's jaw tightened. "You saved me." "Yes," Vera said. The human leaned forward, wincing as pain tore through him. His voice dropped, low and harsh. "Then you've doomed yourselves." The crew flinched. Kor hissed through his mandibles. I told you this was madness." The human ignored him. He locked eyes with Vera. "Listen carefully. My name is Captain Darius Kane, Terran Armed Forces, Soulborn, and you don't understand what you've done." The crew exchanged nervous glances. The human's voice carried weight, not just words but command, like a soldier who had given orders 1,000 times before. Darius took a shaky breath and continued. "There's a law, a hidden one, older than most of your empires. Any who save a human, any who lift one from death, earn Earth's eternal protection. We don't forget debts. We don't abandon allies." Vera frowned. "That doesn't sound like doom. That sounds like loyalty." The human's eyes darkened. "You don't understand. Loyalty means war. Protection means fire. Earth will fight for you, even if you don't want it. And when Earth fights—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. The crew had all heard the stories, of fleets erased, of weapons no one else could build, of wars ended in days when humans decided to move. Jorin's fur bristled. "We never asked for war." "Doesn't matter," Darius said flatly. "You asked by saving me. Earth answers every call." Vera's tail twitched nervously. "Why were you in that pod? Who attacked you?" Darius's eyes flickered, memories flashing behind them. Burning. Ships, screams in the void, Dominion war banners. He exhaled slowly. "The Vaith Dominion. Slavers. Hunters. They ambushed my unit. We fought. We bled. I was the last one left. They thought I was finished when they left me drifting." The crew stiffened. The Vaith Dominion, an empire of predators, feared across half the galaxy. Even the strongest navies hesitated to fight. In them, Kor slammed his claws against the glass. "You mean they're hunting you, us now too?" Darius nodded grimly. "They'll return, not for me anymore. For you. They don't leave witnesses, and they won't risk anyone spreading word that a human lives." The words hit like cold metal. The crew of the Silver Crest had saved one life. Now they carried a death sentence. The medbay filled with noise as panic spread. Kor hissed in fury, antennae curling tight. "We should never have brought you aboard. You'll drag Earth's war to us," Jorin growled, pacing. "We're miners, not soldiers. We can't fight the Dominion." Vera raised a clawed hand, silencing them. Her yellow eyes locked on Darius. "What would you have us do? Leave you to die?" Darius studied her. His expression softened for the first time, a flicker of something almost human in his gaze. Respect. But it passed quickly, replaced by cold reality. "No," he said. "But now you're bound to it. Earth won't ignore this. Neither will the Dominion. You've stepped into a war you never asked for." Far away, beyond their reach, the signal from Darius's pod pulsed again. Across abandoned relay stations, ancient Terran code bounced from satellite to satellite, waking systems no one remembered. Hidden in the quiet dark, Earth's eyes were opening, At the same time, Dominion scouts intercepted faint fragments of the signal. Their warlord listened to the reports with a cruel smile. "So," he hissed, "the last human breathes, and the fools who saved him think themselves safe. Gather the fleet, silence them before Earth can move." Engines roared to life, ships turned toward the Silver Crest. The hunters were returning. Back on the freighter, Darius struggled to his feet, ignoring the crew's protests. His body shook, but his will was iron. "I need a weapon," he said. Vera frowned. "You can barely stand." "Then I'll fight sitting," he snapped. His eyes burned. "You don't know the Dominion. They won't talk. They won't negotiate. They'll slaughter you for helping me." The crew exchanged nervous looks. They had no weapons worth speaking of, just mining lasers and patched-up shields. Against a Dominion warband, they were nothing. Jorin muttered, "We should run." Darius turned on him sharply. "You can't. They'll track you. They'll hunt you to the ends of the stars." "Then what hope do we have?" Jorin spat. "Earth," Darius said simply. The word hung in the air like thunder. The crew fell. Silent, far beyond the rim, engines stirred in the black. Dominion ships were coming, fast and merciless, and deeper still in the cradle of Sol, war machines awakened from centuries of silence. Fleets began to align, their orders written long ago: protect those who save our own. The galaxy was moving. Two storms racing toward each other, and caught in the center, a ragged crew who only wanted to mine, but instead had rescued the most dangerous species the stars had ever known. Captain Darius Kane's voice was low, steady, final. "You saved me. That means you're under Earth's shield now, and that shield is fire. Get ready, because war is coming." The stars outside flickered, shadows moving among them. The hunters were near, and Earth was already awake. The stars shifted. At first it was only a flicker, a strange distortion at the edge of space. But then the shadows stretched, multiplied, and grew into shapes that every member of the Silver Crest recognized at once. Warships. Dominion warships. They arrived without fanfare, without warning, sleek predators sliding into real space, their dark hulls glowing faintly with the red marks of the Vaith Dominion. Engines purred like beasts ready to strike. Weapons hummed, charging with silent menace. The crew froze. Fear filled the air like poison. No one spoke. They all knew what it meant. The Dominion had come, not to fight Earth, not yet, but to erase. The tiny, broken freighter that had dared to save a human. Jorin's fur stood on end as his claws dug into the console. "They found us! Stars help us! They found us!" Kor hissed, mandibles clicking in panic. "This is our end! We saved one life, and now they'll take all of ours." Captain Vera stood at the center of the bridge, her scales catching the dim light. She kept her body still, but her tail lashed against the floor. Her voice was quiet but steady. "Shields up! All of them, every scrap of power we have." Jorin barked a laugh that was more like a sob. "Shields? Against them? That's like paper against fire." The truth was undeniable. The Silver Crest was a miner's vessel, patched together with rust and luck. The Dominion fleet bore the scars of countless wars, ships forged for one purpose only, to kill, and now those ships had fixed their eyes on the rescuers. The medbay doors hissed open. Darius Kane stepped onto the bridge, limping but standing, his presence like a blade drawn from a sheath. His dark eyes swept across the screens, then the terrified crew. "How many?" His voice was low, controlled. "7 warships," Vera said. 2 frigates, 5 destroyers. More could follow. Darius's jaw clenched. He turned his gaze to the forward view. The Dominion ships moved with deadly grace, spreading into formation like wolves circling prey. "They're not here for me anymore," he said coldly. "They're here for you." The words hit the crew like knives. Kor's antennae curled tightly against his skull. "We knew it. We knew saving you would doom us." Darius ignored the blame. He leaned over the console, fingers dancing across controls with soldier's precision. "Listen to me. They won't let you live." They'll burn this ship down to cinders. Then they'll erase your families, your homeworlds. They can't allow anyone to know you saved a human." The crew stared at him in stunned silence. Then Vera spoke. "So what do we do? Fight? Run? What hope do we have against them?" Darius's face hardened. "We call Earth." He tapped commands into the console, his voice steady though his body trembled from wounds. "There's a failsafe. A channel the Dominion doesn't know how to block. It reaches Sol directly, but it can only be used once." Vera's eyes narrowed. "What does it say?" Darius pressed the final key. The console flickered, codes cascading. Across the screen in a language none of the crew could read, his voice was quiet, almost a whisper. It says, "They saved me. Now save them." The words carried a weight far beyond the bridge. The message shot into the void, faster than light, encrypted beyond comprehension. It raced across hidden relays, bouncing through long-dead satellites that suddenly sparked alive, carrying the plea to a place the galaxy had not heard from in centuries: Earth. The Dominion ships began to move closer. The crew's fear deepened. With every passing second, Core hissed, "Will Earth even hear you? Will they care about miners like us?" Darius didn't look away from the screen. His voice was iron. "Earth cares about one thing: debts. You saved me. That means Earth will fight for you, whether you want it or not." The Dominion flagship lit its weapons, energy built in its cannons, glowing like molten suns. The silver crest shook as the enemy locked on. Jorin whispered, trembling, "We're finished. Nothing's coming. We're alone." But far away, in the dark silence of forgotten systems, old machines stirred. Codes awoke. Orders that had been waiting for centuries ran through dormant networks. 1,000 eyes opened at once, cold and unblinking. Earth had heard the call, and Earth was moving, not slow, not hesitant, but fast, silent, unstoppable. On the bridge of the Silver Crest, alarms blared as the Dominion prepared to fire. The crew braced for death. Darius Kane stood tall despite his wounds, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Hold the line! They're coming!" Outside, the stars flickered again. But this time, something else moved among them. The Dominion fleet filled. The stars, their destroyers glided into position, weapons glowing like molten suns. The flagship loomed, its hull carved with the jagged red sigils of the Vaith. On the bridge of the Silver Crest, the crew could only watch as death surrounded them. Jorin whispered through clenched teeth, "This is it. We'll be ash in seconds." Core's antennae twitched violently. "No escape, no help. The human lied. Earth is not coming." Captain Vera said nothing. Her claws dug into the armrest of her chair, scales trembling with the effort of holding herself together. Beside her, Darius Kane stood, battered and pale, but his eyes never wavered from the view of the enemy fleet. Then, silence. The Dominion flagship's cannons began to glow brighter, ready to unleash their first strike. Every ship in the formation, aligned for the kill, but something was wrong. The stars themselves seemed to shift. One moment, only the Dominion ships filled the void. The next, another shape was there, huge, silent, black as the abyss itself. A warship. It hadn't jumped in. There was no flash of light, no ripple of warped space, no warning at all. It was simply there, as though it had always been hiding in the shadows, waiting. The Silver Crest crew gasped in unison. What is that?" Core whispered. His voice trembled like a child seeing a monster in the dark. Darius Kane's lips curved in something between a smile and a grimace. Earth's answer. The ship hung in silence, cloaked in midnight armor that swallowed. Light, no insignia, no name painted on its hull, only its presence. The void seemed smaller around it, as if the stars themselves bent away in fear, but Darius knew its name. He breathed it like a prayer. The Aegis. The Dominion fleet hesitated. Confusion rippled across their formation. The lone warship didn't move, no weapons fired, no signals broadcast. It simply existed, and that was enough to set predators on edge. Then, laughter. Harsh, cruel Dominion laughter rolled across comms. "One human ship against us," sneered the Dominion warlord. His voice was thick with scorn. "You think this ghost can protect you? We will tear it apart and burn the pieces in front of you." The Aegis remained silent. No words, no warnings, and then, without a sound, it fired. There was no flash, no thunder, just a single pulse of pale light, almost delicate. For a heartbeat, it seemed nothing had happened. Then a Dominion cruiser, massive, armored, bristling with weapons, simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no wreckage. One moment it was there, the next it was gone, erased as if the universe had decided it no longer belonged. The silence that followed was worse than any roar of battle. On the Silver Crest, the crew stood frozen, there, eyes wide, their bodies trembling. Jorin's fur bristled as he whispered, "Stars preserve us." Kor's mandibles clicked in fear. What kind of weapon? What kind of ship is that? The Dominion fleet broke its hesitation with rage. All ships opened fire at once, beams of energy and swarms of missiles rushing toward the lone black vessel. But the Aegis moved, not fast, not in panic. It slid through the void like a predator circling prey, each attack passing harmlessly past its hull. Its black armor seemed to drink the light of incoming fire, bending it away as though the laws of physics themselves bowed before Earth's design. Then it fired again. Another cruiser vanished, and then another. No explosions, no debris. Just silence and absence, like the stars themselves were swallowing Dominion ships whole. On the bridge, the crew of the Silver Crest finally understood why the galaxy whispered about humans. Why every empire had agreed on one law: never interfere with them, because one ship, silent and patient, was dismantling an entire fleet without breaking a sweat. Darius Kane stood tall, his voice a low growl that carried more weight than the roar of cannons. "Now you see why they fear us." The Aegis turned slowly, its weapons locking onto the Dominion flagship. The warlord's laughter was gone, replaced by silence and the hollow breath of terror. The galaxy remembered. It remembered why humans were feared. The bridge of the Silver Crest was frozen in shock. Outside the view panels, the Dominion fleet burned. One by one, their cruisers disappeared into silence, erased by the black warship that moved like a phantom. The void should have been filled with explosions, with wreckage drifting through the stars. But there was nothing, no debris, no light, just absence. Entire ships vanishing as if the universe itself had swallowed them whole. The Aegis. Darius Kane stood at the center of the bridge, his posture steady, despite the blood that still stained his uniform. His gaze was fixed on the black warship, but his voice was calm when he spoke. "You need to understand something," he said quietly, though every alien in the room leaned in as if his words were law. "The moment you opened my pod, you signed a bond you can't break." Captain Vera snapped her scaled fingers against the console. "We didn't ask for this bond," she hissed. Her golden eyes were wide, her tail whipping in agitation. "We wanted to save a life, not start a war." Darius turned to face her. His eyes were cold, his expression unreadable. "That doesn't matter. Earth doesn't care what you wanted. By saving me, you became ours. And Earth doesn't abandon its own." The words hung heavy in the air. Jorin's fur bristled, his claws digging into the console. "Then call them off. Tell your people to stop this madness." But before Darius could answer, the comms flared alive. The voice that came through was low, sharp, and utterly merciless. "This is the Earth vessel Aegis. Alien vessel Silver Crest. You are now under the shield of Earth. By saving one of ours, you have earned our protection." The crew froze. The words felt more like a sentence than a gift. Captain Vera's throat worked as she tried to find her voice. "We don't want protection. We want peace. Leave us out of your war." There was a pause. Then the voice of the Aegis replied, calm, unshaken, unyielding. "Peace ended the moment you saved a human. The Dominion seeks your death. We will answer for you." The bridge fell into silence. No one dared speak. Even Vera had no words, her protest caught in her throat. Then the Dominion struck again. Swarming destroyers broke formation and rushed forward, weapons glowing like suns. They didn't aim for the Aegis. They aimed for the Silver Crest. The rescuers, the crew screamed in terror. Shields flared, alarms wailed, and the ship trembled under the impact of plasma fire, but Darius didn't flinch. He simply lifted a hand and pointed to the viewport. "Watch!" And the Aegis answered. The black ship slid between the Silver Crest and the Dominion attackers with terrifying precision. Its weapons lit once more, silent pulses of light that erased destroyers in an instant. Dominion ships burst into nothingness, as though reality itself rejected them. The alien crew staggered, horror painted across every face. "They're dying." "Because of us," Jorin whispered, his fur slick with fear. "We saved one being, and now fleets burn in our name." Darius turned to him slowly, his voice iron. "You think this is because of you? No, this is because of them." He jabbed a finger toward the burning Dominion fleet. "They would have hunted you down, slaughtered you for daring to touch a human. Earth doesn't give them that chance." But the words gave no comfort. On the viewport, the war was a nightmare. Dominion cruisers breaking apart, erasing from the stars, their fleets unraveling like dry leaves in fire. The Aegis moved with cold precision, every shot exact, every maneuver flawless. It wasn't battle, it was execution. Kor gripped the railing, mandibles clattering in panic. "We didn't want this," he shouted. "We didn't ask for this." "War!" Darius finally turned on them, his eyes burning. "It doesn't matter what you wanted. You saved me. That act cannot be undone. Earth has chosen, and once Earth chooses, the stars bleed." The crew fell into silence. Outside, the Dominion screamed across comms, but their rage meant nothing. Their warships burned, their power collapsed under the shadow of a single human ship, and on the bridge of the Silver Crest, the alien rescuers finally understood. They were no longer minors, no longer bystanders, no longer neutral. They were bound to Earth, and Earth waged war in their name. The Dominion wreckage still drifted like silent graves across the stars. What had once been a proud fleet was now scattered into cold nothing, erased by Earth's shadow ship. But already whispers spread. The galaxy had seen. The galaxy was listening. Within hours, comm channels burned with transmissions. From merchant lanes to military relays, from council halls to pirate dens. The story spread faster than light. A minor crew saved a human, and Earth brought war in their name. On the Silver Crest, the rescuers sat in stunned silence. Their claws, mandibles, and scaled hands trembled as the enormity of what they'd unleashed took form. Jorin broke the silence first. His voice was low, shaking. "It's out there now. Every world, every system. They'll know what we did, what we started." Captain Vera's golden eyes narrowed, her tail lashing behind her. "No, we didn't start this. Earth did." Darius Kane stood at the viewport, his broad frame silhouetted against the endless stars. His uniform was still, torn, his body still marked by wounds, but his presence filled the room with unshakable gravity. He spoke without turning. "You saved me. That act doesn't stay hidden. Earth never lets it stay hidden. The moment you chose to open my pod, the galaxy was forced to choose sides," Vera snapped. "We didn't choose sides. We only wanted to save a life." Finally, Darius turned. His eyes were sharp, cold fire in them. "And that is why Earth fights for you, because you chose compassion when others would have chosen fear. The crew flinched under his gaze, but outside their small ship, the galaxy was already reacting. On the lush world of Carath Prime, alien merchants gathered in stunned disbelief. Some cheered, lifting their cups in salute. "At last!" one barked. Earth still remembers loyalty. On the Council of Rathar, old-scale diplomats hissed in fury. A single act binds Earth's wrath, then none are safe. No one should risk saving them. Pirate lords, warlords and smugglers debated whether it was worth capturing humans or fleeing from them entirely. And on the Dominion homeworld, the ruling chamber burned with rage. Their leader, High Regent Thalvek, smashed his claws against the war table. "Earth hides in the shadows, striking with one ship," he snarled. "But they will not fight alone. Already the weak cheer them. Already cowards flock to their side. If we let this stand, every pathetic world will think Earth is a shield." An aide stepped forward, bowing low. "Shall we rally the Corrin, the Vaith and the Shan fleets, Regent?" Thalvek's eyes blazed. "Yes, form an alliance. If Earth wants to play guardian of the weak, then let them bleed for every one of them." Back aboard the Silver Crest, Darius's comms implant flickered alive, lines of encrypted human code. Sliding across his vision, he read in silence, then spoke with grim certainty. "Earth knows. They're watching. More ships will come, and more enemies too." The rescuers stared at him, fear mixing with disbelief. Kor clacked his mandibles nervously. "We were miners, simple miners, not warriors, not soldiers. How can we face this?" Darius stepped forward, his boots heavy against the deck. His gaze swept across the frightened crew. "You're not miners anymore," he said, his voice low, but unshakable. "You are the spark that lit the fire, and that fire will shake the stars." The crew shivered. They knew he wasn't wrong, and somewhere, far across the void, fleets began to move. The galaxy burned, world after world lit up with the fire of war. Trade routes, once bustling with freighters, now carried only wreckage and drifting hulls. The split had come fast, and it was absolute. Those who feared Earth's vengeance, and those who cheered its protection. At the very center of it all drifted a single vessel, the Silver Crest. Once a simple mining ship, now whispered across the stars as the ship that saved a human. In the galley, the crew argued in harsh voices, fear dripping from every word. "This is madness," Kor slammed his claws on the table, mandibles rattling. "We were miners, not soldiers. We dug rocks. We didn't ask for this war." Jorin's frills flared in anger. "But we did save him. You all agreed. Don't act like you didn't." Vera, the captain, stood silent at the head of the table. Her tail lashed once, then stilled. "This isn't about agreeing or not. This is about the galaxy. Every ship that burns now looks to us. Some cheer our name, some curse it. Either way, it began here." Her words hung heavy. Darius Kane, standing apart, finally spoke. His voice was calm, but steel ran through it. "Kindness or mistake, it doesn't matter anymore. The galaxy has chosen its story, and once Earth moves, there is no stopping it." The room fell silent, and Earth was moving. Everywhere the Dominion had once stood strong, shadows of black warships descended. The Aegis was no longer alone. Human fleets appeared without warning, striking fast, vanishing before counterstrikes. Orbital foundries were reduced to slag. Fuel depots evaporated into dust. Entire Dominion fortresses went dark in seconds. News feeds, across the stars, carried the same haunting words. "Earth remembers," but the Dominion was not finished. On the storm world of Krexul, Dominion warlords gathered in a vast chamber, lightning flashing through the sky above. High Regent Thalvek's voice thundered over the storm. "You see how Earth fights, like predators striking in silence. If we allow this to continue, the galaxy will bow to them once more. But they are not gods. They bleed, and they will break." Around him, commanders snarled, hissed, and roared in agreement. Hollow projections showed rally points, vast fleets, converging, weapons stockpiled, allies summoned. One officer bowed. "What is the target, Regent? Which world shall burn?" Thalvek bared his teeth. "Not a world, a ship." He tapped a claw against the hollow, and the projection shifted. The image of the silver crest hovered in the air. Destroy the miners, destroy the symbol. Without them, Earth's war has no face, and the galaxy will forget. Back aboard the Silver Crest, Darius read the encrypted data feed from Earth's fleet. His jaw tightened. "They're coming for you," he said quietly. Vera's eyes narrowed. Then this war was never about Earth. It was always about us. Darius shook his head. "No, it's about what you represent. You showed compassion when no one else dared. You proved the galaxy wrong about us, that humans aren't just weapons, and that terrifies them." Jorin's voice cracked with fear. "So what are we supposed to do? Just keep running? Hide while Earth fights?" Darius looked each of them in the eye, his voice low but fierce. "No, you stand. Because whether you wanted it or not, you've become the heart of this war." Outside, stars flared with fire. Dominion strongholds fell, human fleets advanced, and far beyond, the largest Dominion armada ever assembled prepared to strike, not at Earth, but at one small ship that once pulled a human soldier from the void. The Silver Crest, the galaxy held its breath. The Dominion's armada emerged from the dark, a storm of steel and fire. Thousands of warships, bristling with weapons older than empires. Colossal siege dreadnoughts loomed like moving moons, each carrying weapons designed to tear suns apart. Their leaders called it the Doomsday Fleet, a force meant not just to destroy Earth's warships, but to end Earth's very will to fight. The Dominion wanted the galaxy to watch, to fear, to remember that they, not Earth, ruled the stars, but Earth answered. The first shadow fell without warning. One moment, the void was filled only with Dominion firepower. The next, darkness spread across the stars. Black warships, sleek and silent, appeared as if reality itself had split open. First dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. The Aegis stood at the front, its black armor gleaming with faint, deadly light. Around it, the fleet stretched into infinity, Earth's final answer. The stars themselves seemed to bend beneath the armada's weight. On the Silver Crest, the alien crew trembled. Vera, their captain, gripped the rail so tightly her claws cracked the metal. By the stars, that's not a fleet, that's a storm. Darius Kane stood with his hands clasped behind his back, eyes fixed on the endless wall of black ships. His voice was low, almost reverent. "This is Earth. This is what they become. When one of their own is threatened," Jorin whispered. "We only saved one man." Darius's jaw tightened. "And now the galaxy will pay the price." The Dominion struck first. Their superweapons roared, lances of antimatter fire ripping across the void. Entire clusters of stars seemed to ignite as beams cut through space. Planet-killer missiles streaked forward, each carrying enough power to hollow a world. The first barrage tore through where the human fleet should have been, but the warships were no longer there. The Aegis moved, not with brute speed, but with precision, folding space, slipping through the cracks of reality. Dominion. Fire slammed into nothing, and then Earth struck back. The first human volley silenced the Dominion's laughter. One dreadnought vanished, torn apart in utter silence, as if erased by unseen hands. Another followed, its hull imploding before its crew even realized they were under attack. The human fleet didn't roar or broadcast warnings. They killed in silence. Every strike was perfect. Every shot a death sentence. The Dominion's doomsday fleet, meant to crush entire civilizations, was unraveling in minutes. On the Silver Crest, chaos erupted as the crew watched the battle unfold. Kor's voice shook. "They're tearing them apart, like predators playing with prey." Vera swallowed hard, her eyes fixed on the carnage. "This isn't war, this is slaughter." But Darius's expression never changed. His voice carried both pride and sorrow. "This is justice, and this is the price of saving me." The Dominion tried to rally. They hurled entire wings of warships into the fray, flooding space with missiles and plasma storms. They unleashed their doomsday weapons again, burning holes into the void itself. It did not matter. Wherever the Dominion struck, Earth's ships were already gone. Wherever they hid, Earth's weapons found them. Black warships closed in like wolves on wounded prey, striking in packs, tearing through ships 10 times their size. The galaxy watched in silence as the proud Dominion fleet, once feared above. All was shattered like glass. At last, the Dominion flagship, a fortress the size of a small moon, stood alone. Its hull cracked, its weapons failing. High Regent Thalvek, still snarling defiance, sent his final broadcast. "You think this is victory? You think the galaxy will bow to you? You are monsters, protecting one another only with blood. You will drown in your own war." The Aegis fired once. The flagship was no more. Silence fell across the stars. The battle was over. The Dominion was broken. Their empire shattered in hours by Earth's fury. The crew of the Silver Crest sat frozen in their seats, staring at the wreckage. Planets freed from Dominion rule erupted in cheers. Other worlds fell into terrified silence. Jorin finally spoke, his voice trembling. "All this because we pulled you from the void." Darius turned to face them. His eyes were hard, but there was sorrow there too. "No," he said softly. "All this because Earth remembers." And across the galaxy, that memory spread. Some called it vengeance, others called it justice, but every world learned the same lesson. They saved a single human, and Earth made sure the galaxy would never forget it.